What's up everybody, Nailan here at Nanitech Studio. So welcome. I have received questions from you guys about door and window schedules, so I figured out why not. So in this video you should be able to make yourself one. So the model that we are using is something that we have modeled previously on this channel. Link is below the like button, so if you are interested, go ahead and check it out. Highly recommended if you are an absolute beginner in archicad. This video is going to be divided into different sections, so you can go ahead and jump right into the section that you find more important. But first, we need to begin by placing in the door markers. So in order to place in a marker, I would have to just select the door, go into the settings by Ctrl T, and in the settings here, you can find dimension marker right there. So open that up and you can go ahead and choose any of these. And I like to use the default door marker 23. And right here on marker head is where you decide what shape is going to be around your text on the marker. I like to keep that off by unchecking it, and I like to also remove the extensions. The positions as well, I could keep them at 0 such that I can adjust them the way I want on the floor plan. The only thing that I like to keep is the show ID, which you find by pressing this arrow here. And we can remove dimensions because the essence of making a door and window schedule is to show that information. So we keep the rest off and that will be it. Above that, we have the marker text. So now we can choose what it's going to look like. We can choose something like Times New Romans, and you can put in the size as well. So if we look at this, this is what it's supposed to look like. We can see that this is where the text is going to be. So where are we going to put in the text from? For that, we must go to the classification and properties, and under here we can find the ID, which we decided that it should be shown, and in here we can put in the number that's going to be displayed. So our door is going to be D01. That will be it. So I'll say OK, and there it is placed, and I can drag this mark to put it in a position that is not interrupted by the rest of the things. So I know that from the design, this door is supposed to be the same across the board. So I will alt click to pick that door. I go ahead and Ctrl click to place it on this door, this one, and this one as well. And that's how you place in the door markers. So in order to do for the rest of the doors, I can mark you across all of these doors, and I will go to design, pick the door, and Ctrl A to select all doors. So now that they are selected, I need to deselect some that I do not want to show. For example, these empty openings, which are not supposed to be part of the selection. I'll go ahead and check them to remove them from the selection. Alright, so once I have done that, I'll go to settings by Ctrl T, and like we said, here we can put in the number that you like to see. So for now, I'll put in D02 and go back to dimension marker. Be sure to choose the default door marker, and as well you can choose the marker head you like. I like to remove it and remove the extensions as well. Keep this at 0. In terms of distance, make sure that is checked to show the ID that we just put in, and check the show dimensions, and that will be it. And the text you can change to the fonts that you like to see, and as well the size that you like to see. I'll say OK, and that will be put in for us. Pretty cool. Now from the design, I also know that this door is 900 and this other one is 800. So these are two different doors. So now I can select manually the doors that I am quite sure are a different door from what we selected, and give them a different ID. For example, the door to the store and the door to the WC. I know that that's a smaller door, and it's going to be our door number 3E, classification and property. I'll change that to D03, and then I'll say okay to place that, and that is being marked. So now let's jump into the door schedule. So under the navigation tab in schedules elements, you can see somewhere here door schedule. So double click that and it will load in. So I will come here and click this to fit the width, and you can see all the doors that we have used in our project. This is way too much information, so I want to be able to compress this information to something that I actually do need. In order to do that, I will have to go into scheme settings, which is on the top right corner here. I'll click that and you can see that we are in those schedules, and right here on the top, the classification that is included is everything that is in door. So under here is where we have all the properties that have been presented to us and are included in the schedule. So we can decide to remove or add things. So for example, I do not need all this stuff from fire rating all the way to security rating. So I can select all of them by clicking the last one all the way, holding shift to this one, and I say remove, and that has been removed. And as well, I do not like to see these ones, so now you can go ahead and remove the things that you don't want to see, the sizes, the zones, because definitely I never specified these ones. All right, so now I have a few things that perhaps I should be able to keep. Once I say okay, you can see that this thing has been reduced somehow. But if I also see again, we can see we have some orientation. So we have the same door here, D02 and D02, but just that the orientation is left and right. In order to keep things simple for myself, I'll just remove the orientation as well, because I know that this thing is going to be assembled on site, so I don't have to worry if the door will open left or right, because the drawings will be provided. If I click OK, you can see that we have reduced the number of doors. So now we can fit to width, and it's starting to grow. Next is we want to be able to remove these empty openings. Select one of these, and we need to select it on floor plan. So when you click that, you can see that these have been selected here. If you go to settings by Ctrl T, under classification and properties, you can see that it's a door. But now we need to tell archicad that this shouldn't be a door, but an empty opening. And once we do that and say OK, it should not show up in our door schedule. So if we come back here, you can see that now it has disappeared. We'll do the same for this opening right here. Just click here on select on floor plan, and it will be selected. Go to Ctrl T, and under classification and properties, choose empty opening, double click that and say OK, and that will be removed. If we go back to the door schedule, you can see that that has been removed. So that's what you need to do also for the rest of these openings. Unfortunately, that process is not automated, but what I can do is to go in and manually select these doors that I know are supposed to be empty openings. So I'll go ahead and do that real fast. All right, so once you have the selection, you want to go to Ctrl T, under classification, change that to empty opening, double clicking and say OK. And those should not appear in our schedule. So now when we go back, you can see that now we have these few things right here. We can fit to width, and now we have these 4, but I expect them to be 3. So let me select and see what is this door here. All right, so this is the guardhouse door, but I know that this door is supposed to be the same as D02. So I can go ahead and pick this D02, come here and place this in. But before I place it, I need to know that this is -400. So once I Ctrl-Alt to place the attributes, it will no longer be at that height. So I'll take it back to -400, and that should do just fine. So right now, if we go back to the door schedules, we should have these three nice and clean. So now let's try to rearrange these things and make them a bit more interesting. So now if we go back to the scheme settings, we can move things around. So for example, I like these quantities to be listed below. I like this to be on top. The 3D view should be on top of the 2D plan. And library path name can be there, and element ID as well. But I like to also add another field. So you can add here a field, and I'm supposed to put in like a zone which is supposed to show the location of one, but I don't think I used any. So I can select custom text, which I do not recommend, but sometimes you just need to use what you need to use. That will be it. For now, I'll say okay. And this is the arrangement that I like. So now it's easy to move these things around, to just expand to the sizes that you like to see. For example, I know that naming should be a bit bigger to display the names, and the IDs as well should be bigger. So you can go ahead and adjust sizes to what you like. Next here, we need to put in the name. So for example, here I wanted to say location of where this thing is supposed to be. And when you put in the name as well, you can change to the font that we decided to have, which is going to be Times New Romans in this case. You can left align and bold as well. You can put in, let's see, will 3 work? Maybe too much, maybe 2.5 for the size of the text. Choose what you like. And right here for the rest of the things, we can choose also the same style, but this one can keep at 2, which is pretty cool, really nice. So I can go in that I know this door is supposed to open to the seating, and this one is supposed to open to the bedrooms, and finally this one is supposed to open to the WCs and store. So that's the information I needed for the location. And now for this information, we can check here wrap text such that we are able to read it. And this doesn't look like really important information. Arch double door side light transom 23. I don't think this is good information to display. So what I like to do about that is to change it because the name is not looking good. So I can add another filter. So let me look for description. I don't think there's anything helpful really here. All right, so nothing to do. I'm going to be forced to add another custom text, and that's what I will use for my description. So I'll move that up here, and I will have to replace you, library path name. Sorry. So let me go ahead, and here is where I need my object description. All right. So where do I get the information which I need to be in the description? Well, if I select this door on floor plan, if I say select on floor plan, there you are, the doors are selected. But if I go to file, libraries and object, I go to open object, you can see that the object has been opened right here. And it has that information which I find useful right here. You see this description here? Hinged door with double acting, and it has this information that this has an arch top, side light, and transom. And I have tried to find this for my schedule and I haven't been successful yet. So anyone knows how to add this information directly, you can let me know in the comments below. But alright, so anyway, I'll copy this. I'll go back to my schedule here and I'll put it here because that's what I need. And as well, I think I need to adjust a few things, for example, by informing us how high the transom is. So I can go ahead and here say perhaps 300 millimeter high transom. And the side light is about 1 meter. 1,000 millimeters high. No, wide. Transom, side light, and pick also information from this very object. So I select it on the floor plan, go to File, Libraries and Object, go to Open Object, and here the information is displayed. So I'll pick this information, come here, and I'll put it right here. Add a few things with a 300 millimeter high transom, double against this one. At least I know that it's 900 millimeter by 2.4 millimeter high. Hinged door setting like that. And this final one, select it on the floor plan, go to File, Libraries and Object, Open Object. And the information is right here. Simple. Ctrl C to copy. I go here, Ctrl V to paste. This one has no transom, so we can just say 800 by 2.1 millimeter. That 2.1 I need the millimeter high hinged door. My nice schedule, so I can expand this to give space to some of my wording. Easy. So we can also add in some dimensions by going here to add dimensions automatically, and you can see that they will be added. But if we go to the settings here, we can decide where to put them. For example, here I can choose just the right side. Yeah, I think I'll use them on the right side. Here you can put in the distance by which that dimension is going to be offset. So that's what I need, and that looks cool. Right here on the symbol, we can as well add the dimensions there. So I click there and it's been added. Go to dimension settings here. We can choose, for example, below for this one, because that's what I like to use. You can choose any other. And now we have some cool stuff going on here. And as well, you can edit this stuff further. For example, if I click on annotate, I can come into this. You can see I opened this 2D symbol and I can edit it. So under document, I can pick like a fill, and I know that my walls are going to be 200, and I can just create a representation here. And in the fields, I can pick a common brick fill, remove these things right there. So I can use like a polyline to put a simple outline around this thing. So I can control click to remove that part and make this line strong, 0.35 here, and mirror it also on the other side. So control shift aim, I can mirror it. Oh, I need to take it all the way to there. Yeah, so sometimes I can just have that representation. So you can see if I click OK to leave this annotation, you can see that information has been added. Very simple. And once we need to use it again, so I can click annotate, go back here and pick this beautiful information, Control C, say OK, select this one right here, click annotate, Control V to paste, and have it placed in this location. So now I can drag this stuff and put it where it's supposed to be in this context. I copy again, say OK, that has been placed. Come here, annotate, and place this finally in here with Ctrl V, move it into place. Yeah, so depending on the position of your door or window, either you have the offset before or after. That's a detail that you decide as the architect and designer. So this is supposed to be left and bolden. Alright, so how do we export this thing? First of all, you could save a view. For example, save this view, and that's it. You can give it a custom name. I think that will do. Create, and that view has been created. Next is, if you go to the layout book, you can collapse everything here. I think let me collapse the default things here, and I'll right click, I'll create a new layout. I'll call it schedules, and it could be an A3, why not? Okay, it has been created, but I need to remove it from this collection. Yeah, perhaps I could just place it out here. Yeah, this is what I needed to see. So this is what it looks like, and it has the default archicad title block. You can modify it from here or change it or even delete it like I have right now. So here it's updated. So now with that open, I can go into the view map and find this view that I have just saved, drag that and place it on the layout. And there you have it. Cool and simple. So in the settings, if I go back to Ctrl T, I can come in here, the title, and say that I do not need a title because I already have one up there. And as well, I can adjust the scale of this thing. So here in size and appearance, and this thing needs to get bigger. So perhaps we could use 5:1, maybe 4:1 for an A3. That's a little way too big. Perhaps 2:1. Yeah, that is okay for the A3. This is okay. So now Ctrl Shift Ace to save. I'll call this door schedule, and be sure to choose a PDF file. Choose a location, of course, from your computer, and say save. And that is it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.